What's the big idea?
All right.
Welcome to your next how-to guide.
Yeah, and that voice you're hearing, in case you missed it, is Erik. Erik's back from vacation.
Yeah.
So Erik, while you were away, I was
Holding the fort down.
I was doing all the hard things while you were out relaxing
Yeah.
and getting sick. You're a little sick.
But I want to keep my voice this way. I think it sounds better. It sounds better in my head, but
Yes.
it probably sounds terrible to you.
No, it sounds good. I think you should keep it. How are you gonna keep it?
I don't know.
Just stay sick?
I was just like,
It's not sickness. We should point out Erik is not sick.
right. It's a sinus.
It's a sinus
infection.
infection.
I was looking on those diagrams, like
Drinking too much, perhaps.
probably.
Oh no, Erik.
I
This is a
mean-
kid show, Erik.
Right. Sorry.
This is from not drinking.
And I was in a different area, and it was like super dry, and like it could be some kind of allergy. I don't have allergies,
yeah.
but maybe.
Well, you're in a new climate, right?
Yeah.
New climate. People
Did like
you're not used to the local
Yeah.
vegetation.
Flora and fauna. Fauna.
See, we're educational.
I did
and
do a big
fun.
hike on the second last day. It was pretty sweet.
Is that when you were sick? Were you sick down there, or just when you got back?
No, I wasn't. My voice was rasped because we were like at some big sporting events, so I was like yelling. So like I was like, oh, my voice is just rasped. That's normal.
Right.
But I think that overlapped with something happening to my sinus.
Okay.
And then because I went to work when I came back, and I was like halfway through, I was like, oh, pressure.
Well, and the temperature change. Like
Yeah.
from
Well,
super warm to super cold, so immune system can drop.
Yeah.
And then you have
You get on a
it's probably-
plane.
it's true too with the flora and fauna. Like you're inhaling different things up your nose, and
Yeah.
that's not a drug joke.
No, right.
Inhaling different things up your nose. Anyway, welcome to.
What are you trying to say about me?
I don't know what I'm saying.
Jeez.
Well, this is episode number 26 now,
Mm.
right? We're coming up on the first
25,
third.
24.
Anyway, yeah. So this is episode number 26, and this one is about how parents should cheer. So we're going to discuss this. This has come up on social media a bit
Yeah.
lately about like, is there a better way for parents to cheer? And I mean, there's different arguments for it. Do you want to kick off the thoughts you have on this?
Well, I never thought we would have arguments on how to cheer, but
Oh, there are.
yeah. Like,
Well, debates.
You get
friendly debates.
I don't know. You just like, it seems like a lot of it is common sense, but I've been in gyms, and it's you hear some pretty weird stuff out there, and it just
Now, are you talking in your varsity day, like post-secondary days? Or
no, varsity doesn't matter. That's a free for all.
I agree.
Let the trash talk happen or whatever. Because
Over
I mean,
18 adults.
yeah.
Yes.
It's such a big gym, and it gets so loud. You don't even whatever. And it's honestly good, like as a mental exercise to like try and play while that's going on or whatever. But yeah, when you're in these like gyms and you're seeing like 15-year-olds play, and the parents are like right there, like it's so like obviously that kid can hear what you're saying. So
Right.
yeah, I don't know. Like the word cheer, isn't that not a positive the definition of the word?
Yeah.
Like it's not like cheering can be, uplifting, encouraging words, and also mean shitting on 15-year-olds.
Oh, we don't swear, Erik. Jeez.
Man, but
Jeepers.
that is a biological.
Just say
term.
no. What you mean? What Erik meant to say was that you don't want the fans defecating on the children,
Yeah, that's a red card.
literally or figured, like especially literally, right?
Well, I mean,
Because they're so close.
yeah,
That's literally defecating.
that's gross.
Don't defecate on players. Yeah, and I think you were getting into like cheering and jeering. Cheering,
Right.
Cheering is positive. Jeering is taunting, right?
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Whenever you would hear that, it just doesn't. That's not cheering.
That's not
obviously.
cheering.
Yeah.
No.
So
That's jeering.
that's the end
That's
of the
bad.
show.
That's it.
Cheering
So
is cheering.
if you're jeering, don't just stop. Like that old Michael Jordan commercial. Did you ever see that old Michael Jordan?
Yeah,
If you're doing drugs, stop it.
that was it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Thanks,
geez.
Michael Jordan. I didn't know I should just.
Was he wearing like a suit and
He's
everything?
wearing a suit.
And he's sitting.
I
Like,
mean, he
like
didn't
it's a
write
high
it.
school
Yeah.
photo. He's got like turned 40
Yes.
degrees.
In fairness
Stop
to
it.
him, yeah, it was a McDonald's commercial.
Oh,
Obviously, he
yeah.
didn't write it, but the line. I mean, even I was a kid when that came out, and I was like, "If you're doing drugs, stop it." It's like, come on, talk about oversimplification, but not his fault. We love Michael Jordan.
Hopefully, he got paid.
Yeah.
Good amount to
I
do it. Sure.
don't know. I'm sure McDonald's gave him free burgers for life.
Yeah.
Right? Michael Jordan loved burgers, I'm sure. No. Yeah, but cheering. So, I mean, I guess the debate or discussion in parents who are cheering on club teams or youth volleyball athletes is too much. Like, is it weird to cheer for, like, so it's great to cheer on great plays like that your team makes. That's fine. Cheer.
Yeah.
You can maybe go overboard because there are kids on the other side of the net. I guess, like, some parents go overboard and even applauding good points.
Like getting like too loud
too fired up, too, like, not just forgetting that the other side of the net are kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not, like, so I've heard parents make the argument that, well, we cheer when we watch, football on TV. And I'm like, that's the dumbest argument ever, because these are athletes making millions of dollars versus a child who, is not developed yet.
People are betting money, and
you
can yell at the TV because the players
or even if you're in person, some fans feel they're entitled to, scream whatever they want because these are pro athletes, and that's fine.
They're not going to hear you. You're in a stadium.
Or even if you're right up at the front of the court and you're screaming at LeBron or something. And
that'd be terrifying. Can you imagine if you looked? Oh man.
Well, that's the other thing too. But there's a difference though. Like, I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of criticizing.
So that must be a part of it then. Like, a kid is obviously a kid, and like an adult bigger than kids. So like, there's a bit of that. It's like
100%.
You can say whatever you want because, like, what is this kid gonna do to you? But like at the same time, why would you say anything that's like gonna hurt a kid? Like,
it's weird. Like, they
can only take it in a hurtful way.
Or puzzle. Yeah, it'll just be puzzling. And don't forget too, like, if you're a parent, even your child, and you're yelling at some other kid on team, your child is looking at you going, Is that how Is that how we act?
Right.
Is that who we are? Yes, I guess so. Right. So there is the modeling that I think that parents forget about when they overdo it. One thing that comes up too is people are like, should you cheer overly loud when the other team messes up? Young kids, if they make the mistake. Now, the argument in and against that is that volleyball, is filled with mistakes all the time. So I mean, but I think there's a difference between cheering and like over cheering, right? Yeah,
like, I guess, like, in, volleyball, like, a missed serve, it usually gets, like, a easy acknowledge, like, hey, nice, let's go, like, we got a freebie. But it's, like, pretty close amongst the team.
Yep.
It's not, like, a roaring. It's never a roaring cheer, right?
No. And that's what, nobody, unless it's like, that would be funny if the players screaming when the other team, when it does happen, the other team thinks, what a bunch of jerks.
And I'm like, and if I'm on the team, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like,
it kind of fires you up when the other team gets, that's what, that's what I tell my daughters, like, when they were playing, if there were parents that were vocal, or if I coach teams and we were playing against vocal parents, so sometimes I would say, like, and a lot of coaches I think do this where they're like, okay, let's quiet those fans down.
It's good if you can adapt and like actually use it though.
Yeah, it is. Right? And that's what you want to teach at. This is the problem with, like, it's so weird, right? Because you hope parents are respectful and you'd love to, like, say, let's stop all parents from doing it, but that's impossible, right? And it doesn't help the kids develop anyway. So the best thing to do is to teach your kids to handle it when it does pop up. But like, on shows like this, I think it's nice if we say, like, I remember, like, when my daughter was like 13 or 14, maybe 14, and like she's in her toss for a spin serve, and some adult in the crowd is like, and you're like, oh my god! And she aced it, but she told me later that's
amazing.
She loved that because that fired her. But that's I've taught her that stuff, and maybe some genetics there because I'm kind of like that.
Yeah, but, that would throw me off. It has for sure.
Yeah,
but no one ever does that.
But see, you haven't had it in that. Like, it might throw you off now. But if you were a kid serving and you universe, like, that, you would just be no question. That's a messed up parent who's doing that to kids. But it happens quite a bit in club too, right? Like, there's a lot of parents that do that. They feel like they're watching a professional sporting event, and they're not. Watching children here playing, children going through puberty, children who are uncomfortable with their bodies, right? Even how they look in clothing, guys and girls, or they're short, or they're tall, or they're overweight, or they're not, or they're too skinny, or they're whatever they are. They have all these insecurities about themselves, and then they have their parents screaming for them or against the other team, and it's like,
You add that in, that's
Yeah, it's like it's just a weird. I think it's like what it is really. I think the danger is that if a parent is over cheering or screaming, like I've seen groups of parents that are screaming and they're loud teams, and that's their strategy. They think they're going to intimidate the other team, right?
That's
Again,
brutal, man.
But the problem with that, the worst thing about that is those teams. You're actually teaching those players who are listening to that to overvalue every point. That's what you're doing. So forget about winning the point, losing the point. Your excessive screaming when your team scores a point is training those players to overvalue every point. And as we've talked about in earlier episodes, if you're overvaluing every point in your mind, you will not perform well, because when the points go against you, you're training those players to now get way down. And I've seen this firsthand, because like I've seen those screaming parent teams, and those kids, when they lose a match, are bawling their eyes out. It's always the case, because there's been this elevation.
Not in the good way, right? Not in like the passionate way.
No, not in the passionate way. And also they choke a lot. Like when things, like I can say, I can name a team right now where we were playing against some super loud parents, like inappropriately loud for a children's game. And they tanked it in the third set. They were up, they were up 14-9 and lost it on successive serves because they just the players were overvaluing every point. So every mistake, as that team crept closer and closer, team took a timeout, team took another timeout, panic.
Like what?
And then when they lost, they were a bunch of kids crying, and parents looked,
and the parents
terrified.
Thinking, "Oh, next time I'll cheer louder, or I'll be more offensive."
Yes. And see, if you want a high performing athlete, it's kind of funny because they think, because these parents that over scream think they're doing something that like pro athletes or pro, it's pro sports. This is big time, so I'm going to cheer. You're actually ruining your child's ability to function in key moments. Because, like, for instance, for me, I used to have parents say to me, how can you sit there? Remember, I told you this before. How can you sit there and watch your kid watch this so calmly? And I'm like, because I know it doesn't matter. And I want my kid to learn it doesn't matter. Yeah. If I sit here and start screaming or ripping off my shirt with the team logo on my chest painted on it or something like that, it's, sure, the parents would love to see that, Who wouldn't want to see, me shirtless? No, but,
pretty hairy, right?
No, it's not. I'm actually totally hairless.
Oh.
I'm like those weird cats. It's from years of overgrooming. No. I'm now unable to grow body hair.
You took a marker and for this double.
I'm actually physically unable to grow body hair. Anyway, this is a kid show, right? But the parents that are screaming, they think they're helping, but they're actually ruining their child's ability. So these parents that would ask me, why are you not reacting? And part of it is just, I know this isn't a big deal. Yeah. It goes back to the coaches that overdo things and bench players to win. Like if you haven't gone at a higher level, then you don't see this for what it is. This is recreational volleyball, even if it's quote unquote competitive volleyball. And that's not arrogance. That's just understanding the value of or lack of value of every point. And those kids perform. And I can go back to my coaching days, like when I coached your team too. Like, I always used to see this. So the kids that played, we talked about this, in the bigger, louder cities near us, those kids very rarely excelled later on in life. Yeah. They felt like the big fish in the pond because they had the parents screaming. They got very cocky, arrogant, and the quiet
kind of peaked sooner. Thing.
They didn't.
Injured
they
sooner.
Didn't peak sooner. They couldn't handle adversity. So they couldn't struggle through. Whereas the teams that they were beating, the quieter, the club teams, the Wolves, right, that were quieter, those athletes, a bunch of national team players came out of there because they did the quiet work. Points weren't overvalued. They never got too high, never got too low. That should be every parent's mantra when they're cheering. But that's hard to teach a parent if they haven't lived a sports life.
Yeah,
or if they've only lived as a spectator,
right.
Watching pro sports like that. That person that watched pro sports, they confuse that they're watching here is something far different. And they think that youth sports is actually about winning. Yeah, they don't think it's about developing character. Yeah, they don't think it's about like if I taught my kid, like I couldn't imagine my kid looking over at me and me standing up and screaming or leading a cheer among other parents. Like I couldn't, it's just not in my, and I understand parents, if you haven't lived a sporting life, you might do that. But like, you have to think, what are you teaching your athlete about the value? Like, so when that kid loses, you know what they're thinking? They're thinking they let you down. They're not thinking that they've learned a valuable lesson about, life and performance.
Oh no, my parent can't do the awesome cheer anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, or all of those parents cheering over there. Like I've seen Facebook posts of parents trying to come up with great cheers for tournaments, and I'm sure people are listening to this who maybe are guilty of that, but I'm just telling you,
are there some good ones? Like for what? Like whenever they get a kill or whatever.
Like just does it ever not sound like taunting though? Like I know what they're saying. Parents think they want to celebrate their kid, but you can clap, you can cheer without. But leave this crazy stuff for when they're pro or they're playing college ball or whatever. That's where this happens. Yeah. Okay. So I see what you're saying here. Like most of these parents we're talking about, they weren't players because like it's such a weird thing. There is no known mechanism to like deal with this. Like if I was a coach on a team that was doing this, I obviously as the coach, I would know which parents are doing it, and I have to interact with them sometimes at practice when they come up to me. It would be like, but the problem is a lot of the coaches love it. A lot of the coaches because because they're the same people. Remember
some of them,
these coaches aren't like there's an equally number of, like, this is a societal problem, right? This again goes down to our favorite word on the show. I think it's insecurity. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you are an insecure person, you're gonna over cheer because you're like so. I think I talked about this in the one of the player pep talks I did recently about there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers are the people on the court, and they should be more in control. The passengers feel they have no control in the car. So the passenger in the car is often more terrified and more reactionary than the driver, right? Because the driver has the wheel, they have the gas pedal to brake,
right.
Versus the person watching is out of control.
So the passenger is shouting directions where to go.
And this is why like when I'm exactly, the passenger's shouting directions on where to go and screaming and overreacting with every turn, every point, right? And it's like when people say, I know a lot of people will say this, like we're watching like the NBA finals or something, and it's like game 7, and like someone will say, I don't know how the players aren't freaking out. You're like, well, that's because they aren't there in the moment. And as an athlete, you're not freaking out at 24 all or 25-24 or something. You're in control and you're just going to do your thing. And a million times you'll mess up and a million times you'll succeed or whatever, right? But the parent doesn't have that perspective, so they're freaking out, right? So it's an insecure parent that overreacts, just like it's the insecure coach, insecure players,
and they're using it as a strategy to win the game. Like they're using it as a tool, but it's not even part of the game. And if your kid, like, here's the other mess. If that's a great point. They think it's part of the strategy. Yeah.
But if that's part of the strategy your kid's getting, then what are they going to be like when you're not, like, all those people aren't there? Like, you want your kid to be able to like again, we go back. We've talked about this before, like stoicism, right? The Stoic philosophy, the idea that even keel, right? You don't want to get too excited when things go really well, and you sure as heck don't want to get low when things get bad, right? Go with the flow. And I think parents that are over cheering, again, nothing wrong with cheering on your team, even if the other team makes a mistake. I don't think there's anything wrong with clapping or saying woo or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the stomping of the feet and the cheering and the
foot stomps, right,
and singing, like chanting, spelling out the name.
Oh my goodness! The name of the team or the name of the girl?
No, not the name of the girl.
Oh my god!
Or the boy. That would be a name. Could you imagine Ralph? Give me an R. No, is anybody named there? Nobody names. Nobody names their kid Ralph. Sorry, if there's any Ralphs out there, make a comment. That's not really a good way to get back now.
Yeah, make a comment.
That's not a lot of good way to get comments, because if there's nobody named Ralph, then my name is Ralph. Anyway, but do you know a Ralph? Does anybody know a Ralph? Anyway, if they're over reacting or taunting or spelling out the team name, that's a bit much. Yeah, and especially like you said, if it's a strategy to beat other 12-year-olds, I think that's pretty pathetic. Why don't you just hold down the other team and beat them up?
Yeah. I think the rule or general kind of rule should be like, if you're sitting on like literally the side, like I've seen these gyms, I've been in there, like it's the chairs are lined like 3 meters off the court. Like
Yep.
you're right there. That's where you're just doing like literally just polite cheering, but once you get into stands and stuff, once you go to the bigger tournaments, you make it to finals, there might be like a larger stand setup. Yeah. Now I think your proximity to the court can like,
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
kind of like, that's kind of makes sense, right?
But they are still little kids.
They're
Like,
still little kids. Yeah.
like just because they have a nicer venue doesn't mean you can.
Yeah. But
I still think I still think the mindset, but I'm biased this way, like, cause I'm as a player, I was never like this point is everything. And this, you know what I mean? I was never that way. Like,
Yeah.
of course you're excited if you win something big, but
yeah, you kind of get into those moments when you just grinded and you came back from like, 18 to 24 and all of a sudden you're 23, 24 and you're like, oh, this is like,
yeah. Or like some,
focus in or whatever. Right.
Or like winning
but
a
that's
game.
the thing.
You're
You're as the player, that is your defense. Like you are way more into that point. So jeers, sorry, they're less likely to get to you. Way less likely to get to you.
Yeah. I like the idea. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it like once you're older, it's a good thing to experience. Or it's probably better to experience. Like your daughter is already getting used to it now, and honestly, that is a good thing. So I guess we can hope kids actually hear what we're saying here and like know that this is going to happen, because there is no real good answer to stop it.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, because the sooner you get used to it, the better.
Yeah, that's the whole conundrum, right? Like it would be silly if a league said parents aren't allowed to cheer.
Yeah.
Because there's too much taunting. Because then that's over coddling the athlete, and the athlete never learns to handle adversity or stupidity. Because you better get used to stupid. Because that's why I always tell people you better get used to stupid, because this world is stupid. And I think I tell athletes all the time, just expect crap. Expect it. Expect bad calls. Not refs probably not doing it on purpose, but expect bad calls, and expect an idiot in the crowd. And like, again, just going back to the whole, like, yes, we're saying parents shouldn't be idiots here. Doesn't matter if that's on.
Changes it a little bit.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. We'll see.
Yeah.
But parents shouldn't be idiots, but then we kind of need the idiots. Right? Like, the idiots are valuable.
Yeah.
Because they add to our learning.
Yeah.
And and like you said, like if players hear that message that the idiots are valuable, and then you can apply that to everything. So even like I was just telling my my daughter the other day, like, we can complain about coaches, teammates, whatever, but at the end of the day, like, if we keep there's nothing wrong with quitting if it's like toxic nature, but how many times are we going to do that? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta learn that there are idiots, and you better put up with them on some level, or know how to handle them even.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you gotta know how to, sometimes a person in a position of authority might be a bit of a jerk, not like dangerous jerk, but a jerk.
Let's see what you can get out of the season. I mean, you're still playing, you're still learning, you're still getting the reps and touches.
Like, maybe that is the lesson. I said to her, like, maybe that is the lesson of club volleyball, that this unfairness, this, like, let's take it back to the cheering. Like, let's not try to stop these people. Like, like good coaches do this too. They will tell their teams, okay, you hear that noise? How does that make you feel? Yeah, you want to beat these guys? Yeah. Let's do that. But let's not overplay. Let's not get angry in how we swing, angry in how we serve, but let's keep it in our mind that if we start off very well, then we can silence that. Or if we don't start off well, it might be a flood.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we focus these first 5 points, let's say, right? Yeah. And then that cheering becomes a little bit. And I remember, like, when our team,
because once you turn the tide on them, the cheering changes. Right?
Yes.
And then you're aware of your power. Within the crowd.
And I really think that when I saw that team come back against that very noisy team, the players were in their celebration were quietly mocking the cheering that was going on. So that's kind of interesting. It should. Yeah. As an athlete, that's what it should do, right? This is why some
definitely been there.
So there's a lot of athletes who thrive on being hated by the crowd, right? Yeah. So I think you make a good point. Like, you don't want to if we have rule, it's funny, eh? Like we hate the toxic parent who's screaming, or the insecure parents who are over cheering and forgetting that these are little kids who are making mistakes and learning and growing, and they have schoolwork in their lives, and boyfriends and girlfriends and nervousness and thinking about who they're going to ask to the dance. And now or their math assignment due on Monday, and you're like, hey, shirtless dad running up and down. It's kind of comical when you think
you're gonna fail your exams if you miss this serve.
It's just like a lack of.
Even a good
well, to compare, no,
that's really bad. See, I'm not very good at it. Oh my god.
No, but it's funny because like the argument that, well, let's treat this like we do it in pro sports. I cheer. I go to the Jays game or the Yankees game. I scream the same. I'm like, well, that's no. These are millionaires who are. Yeah. It's a crazy argument, but I've heard people say that. No, well, it's probably, you gotta handle it. Why don't you get your stuff together? Why don't you get out there?
Is that part of it? They assume that, I guess, because there are kids on there playing on a team on the court, and they think that their kid's going to be a pro. Therefore, they think all those kids on the court are going to be pro. But I don't think that's the thing. I don't think they're thinking that deeply about it. I think they're thinking that I'm watching a competitive sport. And I'm used to behaving a certain way when I watch competitive sports. And I can't turn this off.
And
they're thinking, and this is going to help my kid win.
Yeah, or they think it's just supporting their kid.
Yeah, because they feel like they're not part of the game.
They're the passenger.
Right?
Yeah.
They're the passenger. And they also were the parent that probably didn't play. So now they're, getting to engage and feel like they're part of that.
I think that's it exactly. It's in the era of I want to control things. We all, right? Our phones are teaching us that we can control anything we want. Our scrolling, our closing windows, open windows, remote control culture, where we're in control of everything. I have no control here, so I will control what I can by screaming, stomping, or bringing a cowbell or a tambourine. There's probably some parent listening to this with a tambourine right now who just slumped over in their chair.
The cowbell, man.
More cowbell.
Yeah.
So that's it. I think the idea that if you're forgetting that you're watching children and you don't have to be in control. That's the right. That's sort of, there's nothing wrong with not being in control. That's what I think the athlete knows, right? Like as an athlete, see the difference between me and other parents that haven't played, I find, is that I'm there knowing what it's like to be a player, and I know how they are really in control of the situation, and nobody is. That's off the field. The ref isn't, the coach isn't. It's all up to me as a player. So that's another reason why I'm not sitting there screaming my head off.
Exactly.
Because I'm just watching it unfold, and I know where the game goes, and I know the length it takes to get there. And how I don't think back on my career about many key points, unless they're like, certain moments in big competitions, but I'm not, there's so many thousands of points played that the lesson is in the journey, not in, this is all part of the journey.
Yeah.
There's no finish line here. Right.
Dude. And like the insecurity thing, like it's, I think when I was a youth player, like I would definitely get my head down and stuff. And like, I would have my coach being like, hey, like keep your head up. Like, like
body language stuff.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Like that's something like, that's what's going on with these kids. They're super like insecure, vulnerable, and they get on a bad streak or whatever. Or they make a few like mistakes back to back. So yeah, that stuff's going to hit them pretty hard. And like, if anything, I hear my coach say it, and then I hear my mom say it, but also I hated like my mom cheering. Cause it's like,
right.
It's like, I didn't hate it, but it's like,
if it was too loud, every kid gets embarrassed.
Yeah. But and every kid, or maybe it's just young boys, we all think like, oh, I know what to do.
I think everybody. I think young girls or young guys, they're terrified if they hear their parents.
Yeah.
Or they should be.
So that's even worse. Have you heard your parent like ripping into another kid, man?
Or criticizing a kid, or that's horrible. We didn't even really talk about that. Like the whole taunting another kid, like specifically, that's pretty brutal. Yeah,
chirping them when they're.
But even if they're cheering you too positively, and you hear your own parents' voice, that's like a teenager.
That might be the worst one of all of them.
Probably is like, go honey.
Yeah.
No. Go get him, Tiger. We have to do a male voice too. You know what I mean? But that's like the equivalent of having your parents show up at the mall.
Yeah. But this, you're right. This is a sign of society because
it all is.
It has been allowed to get to this point, and the other people that would have had control of this are the other parents in the stands. You know, you can give a dirty look or whatever, like, and if enough parents do that, like, likely that person won't cheer like that. But that's not
really.
That's not happening.
No, they're
and
not
now
registering.
It started with one idiot, and now there's like a band of idiots. So
yeah, and the sad thing is, like, so like just like you can justify idiocy now, right? Like, so if you're like, so I've been in this situation. Well, because you go online.
I want to hear that.
Because you go online and you'll find a whole community of idiots who agree with you.
Yeah,
and
right.
I knew I was right. That's the problem with social media. There's a group for just.
I like
everything,
that.
right?
Justify idiocy.
So, yeah,
I'm writing that down.
Yeah, as like a memo for life. Don't forget to justify idiocy. No, but that's what our society is. That's why the world is so fragmented, right? Because everybody in they look up their stupid idea on Facebook or the internet, and they find out, oh my God, there's 30,000 pages pertaining to my stupid thing that I do. That's insane.
Yeah,
and I must be normal.
Yeah,
and everybody feels that they're normal, but no, it's just a small segment of the world, very vocal segment of the world online, right? So. No, I think that like when if you're someone on again, it's hard to fix. Like you can't fix this with a comment because this is like deep stuff. Well, we talked about this we had the ultimate parenting season. Remember that? And we talked about for parent, if you want to take care of your kid or be a better parent or be a better sporting parent, then you got to take care of yourself first. Like, because what's coming out here in these screams and this behavior, you know, if you're taunting some other kid or trying to affect their serve or some weird crap like that, that's really because you haven't taken care of your own crap, right? Like you're not feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
So you're going to try to spill this all over the court on someone and scream it out at someone or a ref or a coach. So you got to take care of your stuff. So it tells me like I've been in a situation where like there's way too much crazy cheering going on the other side, and you know I've seen parents on our team are a little quieter and we kind of look at each other like, oh my God, and the players look at each other like, oh my God. And yes, it's intimidating. Yes, it's, you know, it could affect the young kids on the other side and make them make errors. But so would kicking them in the nuts, right? So would like you know, holding them up against a locker saying you better lose this next match. It's like it's the same thing. If you want to intimidate a little kid verbally, you want to intimidate them physically.
Well, yeah, I mean abuse is abuse, right? Like,
yeah, and I don't want to throw like,
no,
you know what I mean? Like somebody listening, I don't want to think that like cheering against the team is abuse, but yeah, it's the same thing. Like you're bullying a little kid, or you're like, again, just if you have your self-esteem in check, I don't think you feel the need to belittle in life. Just volleyball or life. And so the parents got to get their crap in order. And that's why I think you like all the high-level volleyball players and parents I know, they're exactly like me.
Yeah.
They don't sit there screaming, you know, because they understand the perspective of what the sport is and where it's going and where it can go and how unimportant this moment is.
How tough it is just be on the court, you know, and like, yeah.
So if you're a parent who hasn't played a lot of high-level sports, which is totally fine, and you know, try not to live through your kids' experience too much, and try to be, you know, be a driver for yourself, right? You be in control of you, and let your kid be in control of them. That's the only way they grow, right? If you're frequently interfering in what they're doing, you're actually delaying their ability to learn. Right. And this goes for like, you know, making their lunch till it's too late in life, or doing too much of their homework for them. You're delaying their ability to make those mistakes and learn. And same with an athlete, like you can't protect them. And like I said, when the cheering stops, right?
Yeah.
When that team starts losing 5 points in a row and then you guys get really quiet, that team starts to now go, this is serious because we don't hear the.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Are we losing?
Did you just say the.
Nope. I didn't say it. Nope.
I think you said feces.
Yes, I said feces.
You don't want kids to know about.
I had like 2 episodes, and then I was gone for a while. And then
and then you went and got sick and drunk and inhaling strange fauna. Is fauna animals? No. Fauna is plants, right?
I think so.
Flora and fauna. Yeah.
It's funny. I thought that too when I
But
said
because
fawn.
I think because of fawn.
Yeah, but
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we could probably wrap this up a little quicker than usual.
Yeah.
What's the message for?
Well, I think the only two takeaways, like the only two strategies to deal with this is just, the world's getting dumber, and there's terrible people out there that are jeering.
Terrible. Oh no! See, now the parents now we have to delineate. Yes. So clear that up. Like you mean you said jeering. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
there are parents out there jeering. Like, and it's hard to define like when the line crosses. I mean, volume is one thing, volume of a cheer.
Mm-hmm.
Like volume is probably fine, but if it starts to like get into
Yes, it's weird.
like
Fine line between crazy.
yeah, like jeering means you're like
taunting.
or like making fun of like that kid or
Mm.
something. So obviously, that's not good. So if you
Now, is it jeering, Eric? If your team, let's suppose the other team misses a serve, and the other team's parents scream excessively.
what are they saying? Just like
Well, just
or like they're just
a
like
million different things.
yeah.
Yeah, scream, like
so they're
too
just
fired up.
Yeah, they're just saying like yes, like
Yeah.
they like. But if they start
That's
going
really
like
good. That's really good acting, Eric.
thanks.
Yeah, for people just listening,
I
Eric.
was just playing volleyball today. And
Eric
I
was
actually that's why my voice is gone because I
oh,
cheer
you're
really
screaming
loud.
too. Oh,
No,
you're screaming, especially over missed serves.
no, like so yeah, like cheering for sure. Like if the one team loses and the team who got the point is cheering, like that's okay. And there's if it gets loud and stuff, that's not bad. It gets weird first. First it gets weird. It's like, are they just celebrating that hard? Like you're confused,
Right.
and then it gets louder, and then it's like they can't serve or like whatever, and then it's like okay, now that's a taunt,
Yes.
and it's still weird,
Yes.
and whatever, and like
Yeah.
but then like I guess you can get your kid prepared for it, and then the only other thing is what you're saying for parents. Like this is happening. I don't know. Like, this is happening in parents that like you said, who are not taking care of themselves first or whatever. If you need to, get some of that dopamine thing that we were talking about, or like if you need to feel good, better about inside and yourself by doing this, by thinking you're helping your kid win by taunting other little kids. Well, it's not taunting because taunting,
But being excessive, we'll say.
yeah, like putting that kid down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like.
Or not remembering. Like that's the other thing too, right? A confident person, I think what happens is like when you're calm or stoic or confident, you have the ability to realize your setting. You look around a bit, understand what's happening. So for me, I'm sitting in a volleyball gym and all I see are children playing against each other all the way up to 18s and 18U. And I just see kids who are trying to figure it out, right? And I know what happens when you're in your mid-20s or like early 20s when things take a huge jump. And I know that this is still on that path of development. So I don't think of it as, I just see kids figuring it out. Yes, I will get frustrated if I see a kid that taunts other kids. I'm like, oh, loser behavior.
Yeah.
But I equally and especially don't like parents that taunt kids or go excessive cheering. It's like I said, it's a lack of awareness of the significance of every point. And if you're overvaluing every point, like I said, I always go back to the kid's development. I just think that you're just sending the wrong message to the kid, right?
Yeah.
You're that kid's going to you don't want your kid to overvalue every point because two things happen. They'll never play free on important points.
Well, that's the first thing I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Is that, you're already taking up so much of their mental nervousness. They're not able to focus. Like it's tough enough, especially, we get into the kids who don't play as much, all of a sudden they're on the court and now like they're already nervous. Right. Add this on top. Like they're not going to learn anything there.
Yeah. There's no empathy, right? Like there's no empathy for situation or what's going on. And so, but like you're teaching them so they won't function well in key points because they're overvaluing points. And then that's where you get thoughts creeping into head and people can't function loosely, freely. Like they like to call it flow, which, whatever. Yeah. But, you're not in the zone because you can't be because you're now thinking too much and you'll make critical mistakes.
Stuff comes in and sticks.
Yeah. And it happens all the time, right? And like I told you that example where it was like 14-9 in the third set and that team could not side out the ball. Made critical errors, hitting it out the back because the audience has taught them that these points really matter. What you want, the ultimate goal for a player is to not think points matter. So Tri-Born, Tri-Born.
I was literally just gonna say
Tri-Born, like for parents who don't know.
I watch those clips. Yeah, he goes back to the service line.
Tri-Born is one of the best U.S. beach volleyball players right now in the AVP tour. And
phenomenal athlete.
And he played in the Olympics too for the U.S. And he's a great player, great athlete. A little late to the game, I think, too. Volleyball. I don't think he didn't start too young.
Was he No, who's the guy who came from basketball? That's not Tri-Born.
No,
but he was late to volleyball.
Oh, that's was it Theo Brunner? Brunner, I think.
No, it wasn't Theo.
And Theo didn't come from basketball.
I think it was
Mike Whitmarsh way back in the day was a best. But anyway, but Tri-Born doesn't even know the score.
Yeah,
right? Like this guy. If you go look up Tri-Born on YouTube scoreboard or something, he frequently goes back to serve when the match is over.
Yeah,
and that's beautiful. That's awesome. When I heard that, because I'm like, that means that he's so in the game. And he doesn't care. Like if they're losing by 10 or winning by 10, that's what you want. You want your athlete to be playing the same level all the time. So by parents overreacting to points, you're teaching your kid to overreact to the point. And they will overreact to good points. That means they'll also overreact to bad points. So that's the tendency you're teaching, right? What were you going to say?
I'm wondering, what if other teams start shouting out the score to them when they're playing against them?
That's funny.
Hey, try it's 1917.
Yeah, that would be funny. That's probably what's gonna happen. Well, they're gonna do it now after they heard us say it.
Yeah,
we have how many? I don't know how many. Several tens of people.
No, because that would mean what he's doing is working if it's making other people.
Yes, but he's also an adult, and he's it's okay to.
I'm sure. I feel like it would make him laugh.
What are your stands? I don't like it when I go to watch pro events too, like NHL, NBA, NFL. If I'm at a baseball game, I hate hearing like losers in the crowd screaming about what a loser some pro athlete. That drives me nuts. Just as a former athlete, I think, and as a person, I'm just like, what kind of loser are you that you? And I know the arguments. Everybody's like, oh, these guys are making millions, or these girls are making some, or whatever. Mostly it's guys, right? They're making so much money. That's what they get paid for.
Yeah.
Like, but you've never done this in your life. Like, I also have a problem. I remember when I'd always wonder about, like, you're watching highlights, like the sports wrap-up shows on ESPN or TSN or Sportsnet or something. And they're like, this guy's like, oh, that's a bad goal. And I'm like, who are you?
Wait, what?
This guy the guy in the suit or the girl in the dress on the commentating, making fun of the athlete's performance. And I'm like, who are you? Like, just but they're catering to that fan, right? That is that insecure fan who's never done it.
Right.
And that's how they talk. So they want to, but it fuels it too, right? It's not respectful.
That's got to be part. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a good chunk of jealousy in there. Like,
yes.
Like I was just at the waste management PGA tournament.
Oh yeah, you went to a pro golf tournament.
Yeah, and so like there's cheering. Like
I like how you threw in the sponsor's name.
It's called.
I know it is, but that's just the waste management.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Just say you went to a PGA Championship.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Well, no, I had to say it specifically because
that's what they bought the name.
No. Hole 16. It is not golf. It's different. Like hole 16, like you're up there. It's a short par 3, and everyone is just like, there's no silence on the backswing. Everyone's like cheering for you. Like typically everyone cheers for you at the tee off. They go, ooh, and then they hit the ball and they go, oh, and then they're waiting for it.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's no more silence.
No,
in the backswing?
It's just the waste management tournament.
Okay.
It's only this one where they allow this, right? And then if the person makes like a not a good
tee shot, drive, yeah.
I guess it wouldn't be a drive. They're not using a driver, but tee
shot.
shot.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, because it's a 3.
Yeah, and then the crowd just boos them, and then you can see them walking up, and then they're on the green. And I heard some because people are drinking, they're getting pretty excessive, and they say the most ruthless stuff. Well, not the most. It's not like they're saying vulgar stuff, but they're saying like pretty ruthless stuff, and they're like ripping in on money and how much they suck, and like.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's based on jealousy. Like the money is the thing, right? Like whenever an athlete's making a lot of money, but that's the difference, right? Like, I mean,
a bunch of golfers they avoid that tournament specifically for that reason. But some of them like it though. Some of them love it.
Yeah,
they fire by the crowd.
It's like the U.S. Open in tennis. Like a lot of athletes don't like the night sessions,
right? Because
the crowds they don't have the etiquette of tennis fans. They get loud and scream. But some athletes love it. Yeah. But no, but the clear difference is they're at like, so yes, I agree. Like it's the insecurity and jealousy. But it's the same with it's like very weird. The same, like I've sat next to them thinking, having parents sing them, planning their cheers in the hallways.
Wow.
Like, it's like, what?
Like, I mean, with people at a professional sporting event, I think I get it because people are, you know, fantasy pools and they're betting and they're doing this and they're that, or like, so you're more invested in the sport, you're more invested in that person losing, or
right,
or they let you down one year, so like, yeah, you're gonna like remember that, and you're gonna like, you know, some people
or you're just a
pick
loser,
favorites.
or you're just a loser who sucks at everything. That's usually what it is. Like, I hate to say it, like, you know, the gambling is a nice thing. I mean, sure, if that's, but 9 times out of 10, it's just like some loser.
If you are
who is so jealous,
like
of
if Michael Jordan's in the fans, he's not gonna be. If he's at any sporting event, he's not going to be throwing jeers out at anyone.
What's that thing that they say?
It's impossible.
You've heard Joe Rogan's joke about Michael Jordan? Like, do you think Michael Jordan reads YouTube comments?
Yeah,
or does he make comments?
Yeah.
Picture Michael Jordan. I mean, making YouTube comments,
like giving feedback on like,
or arguing with someone in the
basketball
YouTube
commentary. Yeah.
No, I'm the same way. I think that you get caught up sometimes. You know, in your own life, you might defend yourself, I guess, but when it comes to like, you know, arguing with someone over sporting, I've been, you know, I've gotten roped in on that sometimes, but I would never criticize the athlete. I hate it when people criticize athletes. I'm just like, it's rooted in jealousy and it's insecurity. Right?
Some of it's pretty funny.
Yes.
It's like, you know,
and that's different. I think there are some fans that try to do the funny for the crowd.
Yeah.
But there's other people that are just, you know,
like
hate themselves.
It was mostly at the beginning of the day. Is all kind of, it's pretty funny because the fact that it's even allowed at this specific tournament makes it kind of unique.
In golf, yeah,
and people are all dressed up and like partying, and it's hilarious. But then later on in the day, once like people are too drunk and stuff, then the excessive vulgarity comes out, and then I'm like, okay, we've crossed the line now. Crossed the line. But
and that's why I'm glad they don't sell booze at youth volleyball events. Can you imagine that? Oh my god, I don't think they do. I mean, I don't know, man. Imagine if some
maybe you like sell burgers or something and like smash a parent in the face with it.
I don't know.
Like, shut up.
I don't know.
Well, so do any parents stand up and be like, "Hey, this is a kid's sporting event"?
I think it happened. I think it does.
What
happen.
are you doing?
Yeah, and refs.
But everyone's afraid to do that, right?
Well, yeah. You should be afraid to do
refs is a big thing.
Refs, like, there are some things now. Refs have some power to sometimes have parents removed. There's some new cards in some areas where there's like you can have a parent removed, but then that puts the ref in a really dangerous situation unless you have security. Because if it's a psycho parent, then they might come back on that.
That's what it sucks. It sounds like no one wants the responsibility of having to control the crowd. No one wants that.
Well, I think
crowds are terrifying.
You know, it's funny, in society we're that way, right? Like, stores let people shoplift. I mean, not that's a whole different thing, but it's the same idea of everybody. People are so intense and so self-loathing. Let's face it, they hate themselves so much that if you confront them, they might slash your face or punch you in the gut or like worse. So or shoot you. I mean, like. That's sort of where we are. Like, and again, social media makes us all so short-tempered, and it makes us feel that everything is everywhere.
Yeah,
you know, you social media gives you such a false sense of reality, right? Because the algorithm makes you feel like. So if you look up, if I were to look up on Facebook, like parents screaming at refs, and then I kept scrolling, and then Facebook goes, this guy loves parents who scream at refs. So then I would look that up and think it's a massive problem, or like. You know what I mean? And then I think that it's everywhere, right? Or, or that's how racism on Facebook works too, right? Like if you click on a few racist posts, they'll keep like, oh, this guy likes racist posts. And then they're like, there's more racism about that group you hate. Here's some more stuff about that group you hate. And you're like, oh, those people I hate
they're like racism.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. And then you walk out your door, and then the first one you see, you like tackle or something. You know? That's how it works. So I don't know. I think that's affecting everybody's impatience and lack of not speaking up about things is a big thing.
Well,
I see parents quiet, which I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, like,
that
should you engage?
Yeah,
should you engage with stupidity? Like, I don't think it's ever a good idea to say you should stop and live like me, right? Like, even in this show, we're telling people like we know it's not going to stop it, right? Like, we can say this. But it's a deeper issue, right? Like if you think that standing up in a gym and saying, it's like what we opened up with the show with, we said Michael Jordan with the McDonald's thing, if you're doing drugs, stop it. It's not. It's the same thing. It's actually funny that we said that because you can't say that to these parents. You can't say if you're doing this cheering, stop it.
And
you have to work on yourself. So the only way I could say they could stop it is like hit the gym, play a competitive sport if you can, or just work out really hard, or like, not even hard, 15 minutes a day, do something, take care of yourself, eat well, and odds are you'll probably notice that your mood improves, your dopamine goes up, your self-esteem goes up, and you don't feel the need to defecate on a little kid.
Yeah.
Literally.
Nice.
There's a full circle. Call back.
Or drop your kid off with like a good lunchbox and go to the gym and then come back. Like
at the gym. Oh, you mean at volleyball?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it. During their practices.
I mean, sometimes I felt bad, like, having my parent, they give up their entire day. Yep. I'm like, me now, like, I don't have kids, but like, thinking about that, I'm like, dang.
That you know of. Kid show.
But like, I mean, I hope I don't even question it at that when I'm at that point. But like, obviously, outside looking in, I'm like, holy crap, these parents sacrifice so much of themselves, and like that sacrifice, like, it's gonna make them also do this.
It's also a fine line between sacrifice and is it controlling? Like, are you there because you're controlling and you don't have a life?
Can you not let them just play a thing with their friends and you go out and do something that's good for you? Yeah. And then you come back.
Like,
and
I like to watch.
Great day.
Yeah, I like to watch tournaments, but I don't like to watch practice. Like, that's part of the reason. I didn't even coach my kids much.
God, I can never watch practice.
Yeah, no, I know I didn't. But some parents sit around and watch. A lot of parents sit around and watch practice for a long time.
That's weird.
Long time.
Parents were never at practice. Maybe one because they drove too far. Like,
yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Right.
No, I think that it's it's something nice to let it be your kid's thing, not your thing. I love that line that. Karch Karai said that, one of the greatest volleyball players who ever lived. And I mean, he's the greatest volleyball player who ever lived, beach, indoor, and now he's the coach of the U.S. women's team. I remember he said that. And I said that too. I didn't know that he said that. I said that too. Like, I always wanted it to be my kid's thing, not my thing. And I think that's a good message for parents, that if you can let your kid have this, like, let them have it. Let the good and the bad, right? Like, if you're trying to protect them from the bad, that's not going to work. So, like, just let them have it. Let them have the experience. Let them have some freedom out there. This is why beach, like, we're going to do more shows on beach volleyball too. And this is why a lot of kids run to beach, because there's a freedom there. The parents are sitting further away.
Yeah.
In most places, I think that's kind of a rule.
And it's
up
like
to the
nice
kids.
out. Like, people are somewhat in a better mood.
Yeah, they're near water, good weather. But I think if I were to leave it, like, let it be your kids' thing. Let them struggle through the good and the bad. And what you'll find is that their performance will go up, because they're not worried about, remember, they're not pro athletes. They're affected by this stuff way more than people who've been used to it, right? So it's good to, at some point they'll get exposed to it, but that can happen later. Like you said, post-secondary, playing in college or university, you're going to hear that stuff from the opposing team. That's where you learn that stuff. Yeah. Not as a child, a 13, 14-year-old playing in a tournament. There you're just worried about, is my hair okay? And what am I, does that guy or girl like me? Or like, you're going through all that weird stuff, right? Or my voice is changing, or are these shorts too long, or do I look stupid in this shirt?
Weird stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking about. And then to have a parent, an adult in that room, joining in with, like, European soccer songs, just like, I don't know. So. Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think we can wrap that up. I mean, we don't want to stop the parents from cheering. Obviously, cheer your kid on, not too crazy if you can. I think that would be our advice. Don't make it, don't hold on to too much. Don't get too much wrapped up in every little point, so your kid can really not get too high or too low either, right? You want them to be excited but not cranky, and they'll probably play better if they see you not overvaluing it. Right? Parents need to think about what they're teaching the kid. What are you modeling here?
Right.
Like, what are you showing them?
Well, especially after the game, where they come to you and they're like, "Hey, did you hear that other adult like saying all this stuff?" And if you can show that you were like somewhat unaffected by it, but you acknowledge, you'd be like, "Yeah, that's part of the game now," then that's already helping them.
or you can't change that. Yeah, there'll always be those people.
Make me so mad, man.
Yeah. But I think that's a good thing. Just before we do leave, I think that we should touch on that. That you should teach your kid, listen, we can't control those people. If you are, one of the rational parents watching, and you hear that, it's good to tell your kid, like, listen, there's no sense in getting freaked out over it.
Yeah.
Because I said, let's use this as a learning chance. Like, this is a chance for you to practice playing in front of a jerk. It's like this is a gift. That person is a jerk. And then they go back to serve, and then they see you rip your shirt off and start screaming, the devils, the devils. That was from Seinfeld.
What?
You ever see that Seinfeld episode where Elaine's boyfriend is going to the Devils Rangers games, and she doesn't know that he's a crazy face painter. the devils. Anyway, crazy episode. Go look it up. It's funny.
Right.
Yeah, Seinfeld.
What if the kid like gets the point, like, and then like turns to the parent and that was like, and just like says something hilarious to them?
Well, it's you know,
can you imagine?
So my daughter, this happened actually. I forgot about this.
Bench brawls.
There were parents sitting behind my daughter in a tournament, and she was spin serving. And they were saying stuff to her about, it's going to go out. These are adults talking to her. This is going to go out. And so she went to do her spin serve, and the ref blew the whistle because there was a ball on the court or something, and she missed it badly. Like, it went under the net. But I think it's because of the whistle, right?
Yeah.
But then she went again, and she served out 4 points to end the match. And she turned around, and she just looked at them.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's awesome.
I mean, it's awesome,
That's
but
awesome.
it's awesome, but like, she couldn't believe it. But it's good that she has that. But that's, you know, when you meet these parents, it does help, and that's what we do talk about. There's always going to be an idiot on the other side of the net.
Yeah.
It's always going to be an idiot. It's kind of nice to expect idiots. I think that's the lesson.
Well, the earlier you do, for sure, the better off you're going to be. Like, I honestly kind of wish I did experience some of this earlier.
Yeah, maybe you were the idiot though.
Maybe. Probably not though.
No, you weren't that idiot. You were the dopey guy.
I was the justified idiot.
Yes,
I had a lot of backup.
You saw your notes.
Yeah,
Justify idiocy.
Yeah.
No. So I guess we should be grateful for parents. That's a good takeaway too, right? We're not going to control these people. The only thing you can do is control yourself as a parent and as an athlete, and you should pass it on to your kid. But if you're someone on the fence, like if you're someone struggling with idiocy,
what if the kid starts like psychoanalyzing the parent, just being like, oh, like you're here trying to live through your kid, because you suck and never they were able to do it.
They heard this?
Can you imagine?
Well, hey, then
you just deflate, like the kid just.
This show's doing some good.
So funny. That would be so funny. Honestly, there's some kids like, you know, you get into 17U, they're older, maybe boys more so than girls, that like I would know some guys at that age that would be yippy and like confident enough to like get an ace on a serve and look at that parent and like call them out.
Do you think? Yeah, it's
I'm not saying they do that, but like,
but
that's what these parents are asking for, and you're getting into sketchy territory.
Do you
there.
think it's worse in girls volleyball?
I'm yelling into the mic.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But don't you? That's a good point, because I bet you any money. I'll bet you any money. The audiences at girls volleyball probably feel safer.
Wow.
Taunting.
How did we not realize this?
Because a boy could be a little intimidating once they reach a certain age, right?
Yeah,
and
dude.
We talked a little bit about this before about coaches being sex. We're going to talk about that probably in an episode soon about coaches and sexism. Like coaching girls differently than boys. I'll bet you any money, the taunting is probably worse in the female game versus the male game. No, but I've been at both fairly recently.
Have you? Okay.
And there's a little more admiration and respect for the power of males. You know what I mean? Because these are strong young boys once they hit 16, 17. So the taunting of parents don't generally feel comfortable taunting because these are little men now, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Versus girls, a parent will feel a little more safe doing it. Yeah, I'm trying to. I think there's still vocal parents in boys volleyball, because I coached you when you were only 15 or 14.
Yeah, there were some, but like some vocal.
Yeah, but I wonder though, it probably curtails a bit, eh? Like, especially the jeering of a specific player, which can happen.
Yeah, I honestly never remember that.
Noise in a toss, I don't think that would happen to a boy.
No. It was mostly,
I'm sure parents out there, I guess parents legitimately, if you want to comment on something like that, like, let us know.
Yeah.
We do read the comments, so let us know if you are, because older boys, I have 2 daughters, so when I played, again, I don't remember anybody watching. Like when we played, our parents weren't around.
Generally, like the loud teams, like the players were loud and their parents were like a backup thing, and they would cheer when the team cheered, and it was like this whole loud thing. Mm-hmm. But it was never really like jeering and stuff and taunting. Yeah, or I'm sure it happened.
Different,
but
you were with a different club. You were with a quiet club.
Exactly.
Other clubs were kind of doing it, but they never jeered. I don't think boys.
Can you imagine 2 of these clubs going at each other, just like friggin'?
Oh, it happens. I've seen it. God. Yeah, they try to outdo the other parents. I know, and they don't realize.
And
that
then like
let the other one look like an idiot. That's sort of what we've done. Like when we've seen it, like
taking away from the game here, it's like turning into this stupid thing.
Yeah. But the problem is parents get so defensive of their kid, and they're like, my kid's getting railroaded off the court, and then some parent screams like, yeah, come on, and you're like, what? Just a response, because in their mind it's almost like someone, like I said, grabbing their kid and saying you better lose, right? It's the same thing. And the parent of course would jump in, so that in their minds they're defending their kid by screaming as loud. Like I've seen parents do taunting of other parents, which is funny. It's kind of funny, but I would never. I just sit there going, man, I just tell my kid,
yeah, the taunting, I wouldn't be able to either, but that would be funny.
I'm always,
or you just film them, you just like take
yeah.
All right, you probably can't do that.
But even that too, though. Like it's so the more you let it affect you, right? Like I tell people all the time. I just tell you this too, like noise, right? It's all noise.
Yeah.
And I want my kids to listen. There's lots of noise today. Who gives a rat's butt?
Rat's butt. Nice.
Rat's,
well, not nice because you let it the A word.
A rat's gluteus maximus.
I don't think they call it that.
No.
On a rat.
But they could.
Radius maximus.
I think they changed it last year.
Oh.
But yeah, so I tell my kid that this is a good thing. Let's enjoy this, but let's not get sucked in.
Right. But
because if you react at all, even the look back, like you said that's a good thing. I was like, don't even have to look back.
Yeah.
You don't even have to look back.
And that's awesome for you guys because you're a volleyball family. But how many kids are getting discouraged out of the game because of crap like this?
I know.
Right.
But the only reason I have it is because I played sports.
Because you played, yeah.
And because I have like accomplished some things, in sports, and so yeah, that's the problem.
Bam.
So
that's the problem.
That's all I got to say about that. We hit an hour, so that's pretty good.
Yeah,
hour's good.
Cool.
All right, we don't want to overdo it ourselves. So
weird topic. It's just
so you're gonna be here next episode? Or are you going on vacation again?
I think I'll be here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we should set up a hammock for you.
Yeah, maybe.
I could fan you.
Hey man, I'm running low on money now, so
I'm
gonna have to move into the basement.
Oh, this isn't a basement. This is a professional studio.
Oh yeah, sorry.
You jerk.
Uh-oh.
Or is it?
Or is it? Yeah,
undisclosed location. We can't tell people where we are.
Area 50.
They'll shut us down. All the toxic coaches, all the toxic parents, all the toxic players. They're looking for us. We're gonna broadcast. They're trying to shut us down. CB radio soon. They're trying to shut us down. We should go to the desert. Yep. And the only thing that'll stop those toxic people who try to shut down volleyball, do you know what it is? Subscriptions. So if you don't subscribe, that is true. Then we could die. Save a life. Yep. Subscribe. We'll have nowhere to sleep. In the studio.
What's the big idea?